All right. I am so excited. I get to have a long overdue conversation
Mm,
with this gentleman here. He is the chairman and
mm,
CEO of Saalex, and he's going to tell you all about what they do. But we have a mutual friend who
mm.
has been recommending that we connect because there were synergies business wise that she wanted us to be able to discuss. And I'm super excited to her for us finally being able to connect because this has been in the years making. I think my first initial reach out to Travis was for a different business, actually, some years ago. And I'm super excited to be able to have this conversation. And I do hope that you all learn a lot from the conversation. He's a really wonderful guy, and I'm excited to have you. So, Travis, tell the people about yourself and
Absolutely.
business and all that good stuff.
Well, listen, Atissa, thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to speak with you today and share some of my insight. And yes, Gwen has been trying to get us together for a very long time, and by no fault of her own, this is all me. My schedule is absolutely insane. I wouldn't have it any other way, by the way, but I'm happy to be speaking and looking forward to hope it's going to be beneficial for everyone that's watching.
I love that. Tell the people a little bit about your business, how you got started, and where you are
Sure,
today.
sure. Well, Salix is first of all, it's a combination of my kids' names. My son's name is Sage, my daughter's name's Alexia, and I'm not a creative kind of guy, so I just put two of the closest things to
It
my
works.
heart,
I love
right?
it.
And hey, it's span the test of time. So we are an aerospace and defense company. We like to consider ourselves to be an advanced technology company and in the areas of supporting the Department of Defense, Department of War, in such areas as software development, agentic software modernization, engineering services, wargaming support, test range management, and operations. And we also do a lot of robotic process automation and some AI as well. So really excited about where our organization is going with all this new technology, and how do we get that to the warfighter
Yeah.
in an efficient manner of time is really something that's near and dear to my heart. Being a service disabled veteran myself, kind of
Mm.
know what those ladies and those gentlemen go through out there, so it's really personal for me.
Love that. I mean, you talked about several different things, just how so what like I mean, not everybody thinks like, hey, I want to be in defense.
Right.
Your previous serving
Sure.
our country, and thank you so much for your service. I think in terms of like how did you turn that into a business?
Right,
Like
right.
you know what I mean? Like
Well, I don't know anyone that ever wakes up with this and said, "Hey, I want to be a defense contractor." That's not the goal or the idea when you start out. Really, it was iteration, and what I mean by that is, Salix actually started out being an IT consulting firm first, doing a
Mm,
lot of quality assurance, quality test
mhm,
kind of things, software quality test type of activities, and it started in the dot-com era. Who
mhm.
starts a business? Who starts an IT business during the dot-com bubble crash? This guy, right? This guy right here.
Okay.
Sheer brilliance, right? Sheer brilliance. But as I was trying to navigate through the dot-com implosion, got an opportunity to go down to TRW and to pitch some of our software quality assurance support skills and capabilities. And honestly, that was the entree into aerospace and defense. Started with one task, doing software QA on a program called FBCB2. It was Force Battlefield Command Brigade and Below. I will never ever forget
Now
the
serious.
title of that program, right? We'll never ever forget that. But that was my entree into the aerospace and defense community,
Mm,
and I grew the organization from there. So it was not hey, I'm going to start out and I'm focused on being an aerospace and defense contractor, because it wasn't. I was focused on the commercial vertical
mm.
and then got an opportunity. And when they called me, I got to tell you, when they called me, they said, "Hey, Travis, we see that you've been out doing some commercial support. You know anything about the aerospace and defense community?" Now, at that moment, I had a choice. I could say, "No, you called the wrong company. Sorry."
Yeah.
Me, being the serial entrepreneur that I am, I said, absolutely. Would you like for me to come down and speak with you about our capabilities? Now, I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Honestly, didn't have a clue about aerospace and defense at that moment, but certainly did not want to pass up the opportunity.
Yeah.
And it worked out for the best for me.
Well, listen, you can grow into. You need things that you can reach and grow
There you
into.
go. Yeah.
Everybody doesn't start off ready. So
Agreed. Agreed.
you
Agreed.
need that space to be able to do it. And I'm glad that you did it because now we're talking. So it was a good move for, I'm sure, a lot of other reasons, but I'll take this one and say I'm glad
Right.
it worked out. Tell me, like, okay, so we talked about the foundation of your business, how you got there, all that good stuff. What is, I would say, now that you have kind of really gone through all these different phases of technology, right?
Hmm.
And I started in the dot com, we both dating ourselves, but I started in the dot com era as well
Hmm.
with a internet service provider
Yes.
company. This is when
Yep.
the internet was being, packaged in a floppy disk.
There you
So
go.
long time ago. But we are, both still standing, and, we're all the way at the point of AI. So tell me, in your business, through all those challenges, so you've seen the evolution, you provide those solutions to your own clients,
Hmm.
and there is just what you do in your business through all these, different chapters, I'll say, of technology and its evolution. Tell me a little bit about, like, how you have the solutions that you have for your clients, but also you're trying to, run a very efficient
Sure.
business. And how has technology shaped the way that you run your own business?
Well, I would start by saying, we have somewhat of a different challenge right now. We're
Mhm,
about 900 people nationwide. We are what you would consider to be a large business in the aerospace and defense community. And so we have been really focused on how do we close that gap
mhm,
being a middle market large business. And what I mean by that is, we're not at the size of a Boeing or a Raytheon
mhm,
or Northrop Grumman. So we got to figure out how we're going to close that gap with the services that we provide to our end Department of War, Department of Defense customers. Since 2022, literally since the advent of ChatGPT and how it's
mhm,
swept over the community and AI, we've been thinking about how do we deploy this wonderful new technology and how do we make it a value add for our customers. So we had to think about it a little bit differently. We're not
right,
out there creating large language models, right?
yeah,
That's on our business. And I think everyone was really and still continue to just try and figure it out as you go away. What's the value proposition? How do you build it into your business model? How do you adjust it to where it's an immediate impact on your customers and
mhm,
also internal to your organization?
mhm,
So honestly, it's been iteration, and I think to our um, to our credit, we engaged early,
mhm,
not knowing what it was going to look like.
yeah,
We engaged early. We knew what we weren't going to do. We
yeah,
knew we weren't going to go out and try to build LLMs,
mhm,
but we did say, hey, we're going to lean into every facet of technology and every facet of deploying AI within our business model, within our business infrastructure, and that's what we did, step by step, starting with small iterations, and we
mhm.
just continue to iterate.
So tell, and I know this is, I mean, I know clearances and government and all the serious nature of who your clientele is, and, all the different protocols I'm sure that you have
Mhm,
to, adhere to, as well as, and, thrive. And I think in terms of with your own business, like, I talk to a lot of small business owners, and they're barely letting ChatGPT in the door. Like, it just is like, I don't know. No, I do have some non for profit folks, and I do understand there's HIPAA and PII,
mhm,
all kinds of things that they're contending with in their business that they're really having to. They just don't even have the infrastructure to support. They don't have the policies in place. They don't have the technical, you know, guardrails, in place in order to create it and use it in the most efficient way. It's just going to take some of them a little bit more
mm.
time. But I'd love for you to share, from your perspective, like, what would be the top 3 things that you would say to a company that is contemplating, they didn't get in there 4 years ago. Let's just say they did not do it. I'm telling you, I talked to a
Right.
lot. They didn't do it 4 years ago. They're all doing it now or thinking about it now and wanting to spin up these projects and their, baby steps and all these different things, which is fine. But I think you and I had an offline conversation just about time is truly of the essence,
True.
especially these small businesses to remain, in the next 24, 48 months.
Well, my recommendation is, for those small businesses who are just now engaging, right? And I think that's the question that
Yes.
you're asking me. First, please know that this is not something that is unprecedented. I want to say that first, okay?
Mhm.
We've seen this movie before. I want to make sure everyone understands that. Let's just go back. I like doing a little history. I really do because this level sets everything.
Yep, teach the people.
First, let's go back to 1760s and let's talk about the first industrial revolution.
Okay.
Steam and water. Steam and
Yeah.
water. All
Mhm,
right.
mhm.
Basically, it changed, from manpower to machine power. Right.
Yep.
That was the first one. Let's go to the second industrial revolution about 100 years later, right? And let's talk about electricity and oil.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, let's talk about where labor became standardized. All right, it became standardized.
Uh-huh.
We've seen this story before. I'm telling you.
We have.
All right, and that was around what, the 1870s, so about 100 years.
Mhm.
Lo and behold, let's go to the third industrial revolution, and
Mhm.
let's talk about computers and IT.
Yeah.
Right, which started at about the 1960s. Again, another 100 years after that, and now let's talk about 70 years, right?
Mhm.
And now we're in the 2022 era,
Yeah, it's
and you
getting
get
shorter
and
and
it
shorter.
it is getting shorter and shorter. So
Yep.
my point is, we've seen this story before. We know that there are industrial revolutions that are really life changing, economy changing, the whole 9 yards. And this
Mhm.
is not a new story. Whether you want to embrace it or not, that's on you. But I think by history, you
Mhm.
need to be thinking about, hey, I need to be in on this,
Yeah.
as the way business is done has changed and will change, like it did for steam and water, like it did for electricity and oil, like it
Yeah.
did for computers and IT. All right.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you can either stick your head in the sand, or you can innovate your business and take advantage of this particular time, this particular
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I talk about some the similar things. I think that I'm like, like it's not new. I think just basically what you said, but then the window is shortening. So it's like, okay, now we are, at these agents, and even that window is shortening. And
Yes.
it's like, they're going to perfect it. They already have the projects at play to perfect it. I mean, Google is like warp speed in
Yes.
getting their whole Google workspace,
Yes.
automate it in this way. So it is, and not just Google, but I just say that because I was looking at an article about Google, excuse me, and how all of its components are now tying into
Yes.
each other. And it's a wonderful thing for, a business owner that uses Google Workspace as
Yep.
well as, any of the others. But
Yep.
sometimes you have to have other tools in order to kind of stitch some of those workflows together on the back
Right.
end.
Mm-hmm.
I love what you just talked about. So I think in essence, and I talk about this with a lot of the smart business owners, the time is now, right? Like, and the traditional foundation of business, although I think in terms of like the functional areas of business, every one
Mm.
of those areas can be augmented with technology,
Yes.
especially artificial intelligence technology. So anywhere there's, pain points in those different, parts of your business, now is the time to really work on actually getting rid of those pain points because you really truly can,
Agreed.
save a lot of time. And speaking of time, I asked someone else this question. What do you think is the time savings that your team or you personally are experiencing now that AI has come aboard?
Well, I would tell you, we've embraced AI within our organization, literally since, what, ChatGPT came out, what, November of 2022, right? I mean, that's
Mhm.
when it kind of hit. January of 2023, I'm thinking about, hey man, how do you get engaged?
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
can't go out and spend, you can't go out and capex,
yeah.
$2 billion. Okay, so you don't have that kind of capability yet. How do you do it? What do you do? What's your next step? So our first thought was to, hey, you know what? Our entire business ecosystem, our entire business infrastructure, let's just
Mhm,
make sure it is AI enabled. Let's
mhm.
make sure that they got some kind of AI functionality built into their products because everybody uses their own
Yeah,
products to do whether it's an accounting system, whether it's a
yeah,
CRM system,
yep.
whether it's a, right. I mean, on and on and on, and a POS system. So our first step was to ensure that all of the business systems within our ecosystem were AI enabled, had some sort of AI functionality. The second part of what we did was we said, okay, well, since we're going to go all the way into this, we're going to make sure that our entire environment is kind of surrounded by AI. We're going to put
Mhm,
all of those business systems into a data lake,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Now we got this data lake of all of our business systems, and now we're able to get a 360-degree view of our entire environment. And now
mhm,
we got real time. We're adding value for the customer. We're able to move so much more efficiently. And so those were kind of our first two
mhm.
steps into it. What I've seen is, right now it's about changing hearts and minds, and it's
Yeah,
about training people and making sure that they have access and doing the iterations. It's about having them think about the work a little bit differently because we're
mhm.
so accustomed to doing it the way we've always done it. We
Yeah.
don't we don't like to pick our head up and
Mhm,
look and say, "Man, I could probably do that much more efficiently." So to give you an example, what you asked me for, we take these things and we have all this information that we garner on companies when we're
mhm,
trying to figure out if they fit kind of
mhm.
in our mold of what we're looking for. And it used to take us for one analyst to do that, used to probably take that analyst 2 to 3 weeks to
Mhm,
compile all that information, do all that,
mhm.
pull all that information together, all that research. Now we built an agent
Yeah,
that now it takes us about 30 minutes,
yeah, 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 yeah,
right? And it's a one-time process because we got a really good prompt that that we built out.
yeah,
And then it spits us out this this report. Now that report again used to take 2 or 3 weeks, and then we had to compile the report, and then it was submitted to committee.
yeah.
That whole process now, 30 minutes.
Love so
I
from 2 weeks to 30 minutes. That is
3
that's
weeks
big.
of an
Yeah,
individual doing the research, compiling it, putting it all together. Now it's a 30-minute process, and we pick up so much speed
yeah.
with everything that we're doing and
Mhm,
eliminating all of that research and that monitoring and all of that stuff that goes along with that. So I can't tell you how excited I am to continue iterating and
yeah,
continue trying to do more because I see a world where there's thousands of agents because AI doesn't replace people, it
yeah.
replaces tasks.
Yes, yes.
And the people that understand how to use it will be the individuals that will remain.
Yeah,
And I hate
yeah.
to say it that way, and I
Well,
try to
it's the
preach
truth,
that.
though. It's the
It
truth.
is absolutely the truth.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that you said, because I think that quite often, and I've been on all the sides, right? Was around when AI started. I remember one of the organizations anyway. And I was like, do we have any AI projects? And there were none at that time. And so it was interesting because some people and their fear of
Mm.
it taking over and taking a job. I would love for you to just you are a chairman and CEO. Talk about like now that that person doesn't have to spend 3 weeks, them and the team and all of this stuff. Now, what value add you have given to their career, like
Sure.
to them being able to produce things that, they probably love much more than having to compile, a
Mm.
report that takes that amount of time. Talk about that because I think that definitely there is the small, the business owner that you are and what they need to do in order to have an efficient organization. And it just is honestly a no-brainer that they should be, adopting AI. But then to the employee that is afraid sometimes of like, well, what will this mean for me?
Hmm.
Speak to that a little bit too.
Well, I think it's about freeing them up to do what I like to call those higher level tasks.
Yes.
Those things that revolve around creativity, those things that revolve around judgment, those things that
Mhm.
revolve around making critical decisions in the direction that we want to go versus just going to a website and doing some research and then putting it into a document.
Yeah.
Those aren't higher level tasks.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
information's already out there.
Right.
You don't have to do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Now, with AI, I mean, think about it. You have access to literally infinite intelligence.
Yeah.
Literally. It's like having access to 200 million books. I think I heard that quote one time, right? At your fingertips, right? If
Yeah.
you know how to ask it the right question, of course, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I think it's about having a workforce that is more intuitive, that's more
Mm.
creative, that thinks about the business model wholly, where you once needed 10 people to do certain functions, you don't you don't need 10 people.
Right.
You need you need 2, 3 that understand how to implement, agents and AI within the organization, and then the rest of it is oversight of
Yeah.
what's going on. And so, do I think it's going to have an impact on the workforce? Honestly speaking, yes, I
True.
really do. And but you need to be prepared. Again, it's about having people focus on higher level tasking
Yeah. Well,
versus
and
some other
embracing
things.
the technology
Yes, yes,
as well.
yes.
I think
Embracing the
well,
technology is
yeah.
huge. It's critical.
Yeah,
It's
because
absolutely critical.
if you're in these different and you embrace the technology, then you're able to actually be a part of the solution that helps to, create the efficiencies versus, being on the outskirts of it. So I definitely and it's out there, right? It's
Agreed.
available to everyone. You can have it on your mobile device, you can have it on your tablet or your laptop. It's easy to access and learn
Hmm.
about how to actually make yourself more valuable. And I love the small business or business own I won't say small because your business is not small, but the business owner's perspective
Hmm.
of like, look, we are looking at efficiency, but we also look at the value added
Sure.
task that everyone's doing because that is what makes a thriving business thrive, right? If
Yeah.
every is kind of working at 100%, and being able to produce in that way. And now with the aid of this technology, it has increased that for every individual, honestly.
I
So,
think
which
it's
is
an excellent time for small businesses to innovate their business and to really change how they do business for the
yeah,
good, right?
yeah,
Adding more value to their customers. I mean, that's what we all want to do as entrepreneurs, want to add value.
mm,
And right now you have this amazing technology that if you just try to start implementing and being iterative around your process and making it more efficient for your end customer,
yeah,
driving more value to them, this is a wonderful time
yeah,
to reinvent how you're delivering whatever it is, service or product that you're delivering. Think about this. Companies that refuse to innovate end up dead.
yeah.
I could
There
I could go on. There's a
yard.
graveyard full of
Yes.
companies. I could go from the Blockbusters to the Kodaks. I mean, I could go on and on to the MySpaces and the AO. I could go on and on
Yeah.
about companies that refused to innovate and thought that they had reached the pinnacle of their service or their product offering.
Oh,
And that
yeah.
is, if you're not trying to figure out how you're going to get better at delivering something, I think you're missing, an
Yep.
amazing opportunity.
Yeah, and there's so many companies that are making that pivot. I just thought about Netflix because 'cause they're going through the whole situation.
Yeah,
It's a larger example, but they're pivoting,
yeah.
they pivoted from the Blockbuster
Gotta
situation to
change. They
Netflix.
learned. I mean, think about this. Blockbuster could have bought Netflix for $50 million.
Shut up. What are you thinking? I'm sure they're all kicking
But
themselves now.
listen, they were loving those late fees, right? Blockbuster fell in love with those late fees, and they were like, "Man, we're gonna continue to get these late fees."
Yep,
And boy, this
that's
this
it.
gravy train is gonna continue forever. And guys, I remember I'm aging myself, right? I'm dating myself. And I remember, Blockbuster back in the day, I was like, man, these damn late fees add up.
Yes, yes,
And all of
yes.
a sudden, you see what
Yeah, there's
happens. So,
more. Well, and the thing constant innovating, right? I think what you have done masterfully, from the inception of your business to now is you are continually evolving, continually, watching the marketplace, seeing what technology is out there, applying it in the right pressure points of the business in order
mm,
to thrive. And that is, you know, that is what I try and help other entrepreneurs and small business owners to do is like, listen, you need to be pulling these levers in order to streamline your business
Mm,
because you just need, you're going to need the capital for something else, trust. You know, like you're going to need to be able to do this, but also understanding that the foundation that it's built on, something that you talk about is you've been in the efficiency game for a while, right? You were delivering that as a solution to your
mhm,
clients. We're also kind of talking that's, you know, walking the walk within your own business and making sure that those efficiency gains were already there. Because a
sure.
lot of people try to add these pieces of technology, Travis, and they have broken operations and, you know, things are wonky and, you know, they knew things needed to be fixed, but they didn't really give
Mm,
it attention and time and resources applied to make it right. And then it's like now you want to add AI and you're like, AI fix it
right.
all. And it's like, well, hold up. Like
Yeah.
there's still the one-on-one of business and you still have just some tidying up to do, you know,
Right.
in order to make it actually do its best work.
Sure, sure, sure. Well, look, AI is just the intelligence
Yeah.
behind it, right? There's another piece that goes to this, right? When you're thinking about this, it's the automation piece of it. And
Hmm.
the automation is the digital connection, right? That
Yeah.
ties it to the intelligence. And how do you automate within a company? You got to have some business processes,
Exactly.
right?
Foundation.
You
Yep.
gotta have a foundation, right? You gotta have some business processes that walk you through, okay, how do I get from A to Z to deliver this type of service or this type of product?
Yeah.
And if you don't have that defined, right, it makes it very difficult for
Yeah.
you to build those digital pathways in order to be able to do these kind of things. And so
Yeah.
I think certainly, as you one of the first things you gotta do is you gotta make sure that, you got your business processes mapped, or
Mhm.
you got some standardized policies and procedures. You got some
Yep.
some work instructions that will say this is how we do business and these are the things that we do within our organization. All those things are important. They're they're
Yes.
they're
Well, I mean,
vital.
there. Yeah, well, and it's like if you're able to pair it with prompt and automation on the back end, if you're able to pair those things together, that's how you get the real efficiency, the real like, oh my goodness, I never knew that it could do this. That's how you
Yep.
go
Yep.
3 weeks to, 3, or excuse me, 30 minutes. Like that's how you get that. But you don't get that without cleaning up that first part. So I'm always saying to people like, yes, you could hobble along. You could,
Right.
but it won't be what you ultimately want,
Exactly.
right? Meaning it's not going to be you're looking at other people's results and thinking, I
Right.
want that. But it's like, but this is what Travis just talked about, what it took to get that. Like,
You
it
know, It is absolutely what you have to do, and I tell people this, right now is the time that you have to be investing in your company, right? You gotta be spending those R&D and CapEx dollars. There's no way around it, business owners. You have to be taking some of that profit,
say that for
and you get
the people in the back. Say it
right,
again.
you have to be investing
I
some of
hire you.
those R&D dollars and those CapEx dollars, right? You have to be putting it back into the business in order for you to invest in trying to better your
Yeah.
organization. So if you are not spending those dollars in those areas, you're uh, you're gonna be dead here in 24 months. Honestly, there's gonna be somebody out there that's gonna out innovate you.
Absolutely.
And there's no doubt about it in my mind. And so you either want to invest with a clear vision of what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
or you're gonna hope. And last time I checked, hope is not a strategy, but hey,
It is not.
you're gonna hope, right, that you can weather the tide.
Yeah. 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 Well,
So
many
those are
have
some interesting things that you
I
have to
mean,
consider.
yes, I'm like, many have hoped and failed. So, like, I hope they don't choose that. If they're well, don't choose that pill. Choose the other one. I think we lost your camera for just a second.
Oh, sorry about that. One second.
That's okay.
There we
There.
go. There we
Perfect.
go. All
Perfect.
right, all right.
All right, just some final things. I think what is the vision for Saalex in this next, let's just say 18 months? Because honestly, I tell my clients, listen, AI is changing so fast.
Mm,
Like we're going to continue to tweak. Like I can fix, some of these things now, but as these tools become more intuitive and different ways, we'll come
sure,
in and there's some maintenance that will come in but it's going to be better than what you've done before
sure.
without a doubt. But the technologies are changing and the capabilities are like, I mean, every other day I'm turning on the TV, I get AI news and it's like, okay, now this thing is happening. And
Yeah.
so it's something that I think people go, okay, well, when should I jump in? I want to jump in, but if it's changing like that,
Mm,
but listen, you were doing something that took you weeks and weeks to do before, and you can get that down to, let's just say, less than a day.
right.
It's worth the investment. It's worth it to go ahead and jump in. But can you say something to that?
Well, listen, I'm more afraid of not acting than acting and getting it wrong
Yeah.
because I think growth is about iteration. I think it's about, you know, you keep turning it, you keep doing new things, you keep trying new things. I'm more afraid of, hey, you know what, me waiting. Can you imagine? I started, down this AI journey literally back in 2023,
Hmm.
and I'm still trying to figure it out. I can only imagine if you're starting right now. And in my
Yeah.
mind, with the pace of what we're doing,
Yeah.
you're already 4 years behind. That's my thought. You're already 4 years behind. So my advice: start.
Yeah.
Start now, right? Start by getting your data organized, right? Because AI is only as good as your data.
Hmm.
Start there. Start by taking small steps in that direction. Identify business systems. Just do what I did. Identify business systems that are AI enabled that you can immediately put into your environment that
Hmm.
gives you some sort of access to your data, some sort of AI connectivity to your data, right?
Yeah.
That's really important. Start there, right? After that, figure out how you're going to start training your workforce
Yeah.
and start getting your workforce, engaged with thinking about it. Whether you want to choose complete ecosystems like Google or Microsoft,
Hmm.
right? Those big two that have those complete ecosystems that kind of wrap AI around everything, you can think about it like that. But my point is to start. You
Yeah.
have to start. The longer you wait, the further you fall behind. And if you wait too long, you're going to be a dinosaur, and there's going to
Yeah.
be some other organization that's
Okay.
going to continue iterating.
Hmm.
Couldn't get that out. Couldn't get that out. There's going to be some other organization that's going to continue to change their model, and you're going to look up, and they're going to be eating your lunch. And so you gotta start, and you gotta press forward with the understanding that you are going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
Be fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be fine with that. Not
Yeah.
one of us out here right now that are embracing, that are leaning forward, say, you know what, I'm gonna hit this side of the park on the first pitch.
Yeah.
I know that I'm gonna strike out. I'm
Yeah.
gonna strike out multiple times,
Yeah.
but
But
it's
you don't
not.
even get a chance to get the home run if you didn't strike.
There you go. I'm swinging the bat. I am going to swing the bat, and
Hmm.
I am going to whiff multiple times, but I am going to keep taking my reps, and I'm going to keep getting better. And, iteration and innovation doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Innovation happens through failure.
Hmm.
Innovation does not happen through success. I'm a firm believer in that because
Hmm.
if you keep succeeding, you don't do anything different.
Right.
You
You
just
don't know. Yeah.
you don't know
You
anything
can't
different.
like that.
Hey, absolutely. So I'm
Hmm.
I'm telling everybody, go out there and fail. Go out
Yeah.
there and fail, and
I
keep
love it.
failing and keep iterating, because that's how you start to figure this out. And oh, by the way, the technology changes so fast right now that,
Yeah.
oh, by the time that you have figured it out, it's changed again. I mean, we're going to be on
This is why
AG.
you gotta start
You
because
got to
man,
start. We're going to be on
this is why you
AGI in
gotta
a year.
start.
We're going to be in AGI in about a year. Literally, it is
Yeah.
2026 right now. By the
Yeah.
end of 2027, we will be close to AGI,
Yeah. Well,
in
and
my opinion.
here's the thing, and I love what you just said. When I think in terms of talking to the folks that I talk to through Rivara, it is definitely about the getting started piece. It's like, listen, you can continue to kick tires, talk to lots of people, you know, we can go into what is that analysis paralysis? Like, I'm going to
Yeah,
continue to analyze all the different ways. And it's like, yeah, but in the meantime, but it's going faster. Like, it's
it's
gaining
yes.
momentum. And not in a scarcity mindset, but in you're here to compete. You didn't come
Mm,
to play small. And if you're a business that is struggling with whether to do it or not, start with one project. I do
yes,
tons of different projects. I'm doing a sales optimization project right now. And it's like start with one area and see the value. And I
yes,
promise you, you're going to want to do it in other areas of your business because you're going to be like, oh my God, like, this is much different than what we were experiencing before. So I
sure.
love that you said that because that is the first thing, is to get out of the gate, hit the ball, whatever analogy for starting you like, do it and apply it, because those who don't act, they don't even get to see the success. They don't even
Agree.
get to see, and some of them, not just are they not going to see the short-term success, they're not going to survive.
Mm,
Think what you are saying and what your experience is and what you know to be true about this journey is so helpful to people that are still, like, don't want to make the investment. It's like,
right, right, right.
it's literally, what choice do you really have? That's honestly the question. And I say this to some people like, okay, you don't have to choose me. You could choose, but what choice do you have to start? You
Right.
literally have to start, and you have to start in a meaningful way. I look at OKRs, I look at what the, strategy is of companies and their initiatives, and I try to help, like, okay, this is how we can help you to get to some of those goals using, technology, working on the business and fixing things that need to be fixed. So all these things coming together are what actually help you to just be in the race and then start to actually win.
Agreed.
And it's almost like a, what is it? A relay race when they're, past. It really is kind of like that, because it's like, you're starting, it's a little slower, you pick up some momentum, and then, next thing you know, you're out in front.
Hmm.
But you had to start. You had to
Agreed.
start.
Agreed. Start. Just
I love
start.
that. Just
Agreed.
start. That's the name of this one. So tell me, okay, if there was something that was your aha moment for AI in your business, what would the thing be?
My aha moment. My aha moment was, you get into thinking about these things and then your mind just goes everywhere. And my aha moment when I compressed AI and I stopped thinking in the terms of, oh my God, this is intelligence and how do I harness it and how do I build it and everything that I do. And I said, I took a step back and I says, okay, what do my customers really want? And I was like, they just want us to have a better understanding and more of a predictive, analytical way of delivering them information about their data,
Mhm, 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 mhm.
right? How they do the work, the information inside of their data, and
Yeah.
giving them that information in a manner to whereas they don't have to do too much interpreting about the data. So the moment that I said it's all about the data
Mhm.
and what do I want AI to tell me about that data? The moment I got my head around that, I was like,
It's on.
it's
I love
on now.
what you.
It's on now. So to me, that was my aha moment. It is
Mhm.
about the data. And once you get an understanding of the data and the things that you want to derive from the data, putting AI into place and wrapping it around that information is truly, truly vital. And so that was my aha moment. It's all
I
about
love
the data. All about the data.
it. Is listen, clearly,
Eh,
that's why everybody wants you to give your name and email,
exactly.
because the data.
Yep.
I love that. Okay, so in closing, and I am so appreciative for you spending this time. In closing, I want to say thank you. Just
Absolutely.
again, thank you to our dear friend that we share mutually, Gwen, and just being able to have this conversation with you. Thanks for your example, your, dedication to your craft, your business, your team, your clients, because I think that that makes the difference. And being
Mm,
able to share your story from, the early days into now where you are continually evolving
mm.
and getting in front of the technology. And I think that's such a lesson for people. Like, get it. There's been, things that flopped and, this isn't one of those though, y'all. I'm like, well,
No,
this one's here. This one's
no.
here. It's everywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's
Yep.
going to get even, it's, let's just say it'll be in all parts of life, let alone our businesses, but
Well,
all.
just think about it. If you didn't, I just go back to, the third industrial revolution. If you resisted computers and IT, you're not in existence today. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
so it's not that hard, folks. It's really not that hard. If you
Yes.
resisted, if you resisted the internet and adopting computers, which by the way is your cell phone now. If you
Yes.
resisted that,
Yeah.
you're not in business anymore. So to me, it's not even an argument that needs to be had.
Yep.
It will be the haves and the have-nots.
That's well,
Choose,
like
choose.
yeah, yes, choose and learn. I mean,
Yes,
there's ways in which to educate yourself, so definitely learn. But I'm going to close us out. Thank you, Travis. I really appreciate everything. And yes, I can't wait for the people to get a hold of this and like, comment,
outstanding.
and share, and tell us what you think.
Please, please, absolutely. Please tag me on everything. I'll be happy to
Yes,
circulate. Looking forward to it. And you keep out. You keep on evangelizing it. This is an important topic for small businesses. Small businesses get an opportunity to really change and innovate their businesses. Right. Small businesses are the backbone of the economy of
yep,
this country, and we got to innovate and we got to continue to change. And this is a way. This
that's right.
is an absolute
This is
avenue to
the
be
way.
able to do that. So thank you so much for having me. I'm truly appreciative.
Absolutely.
All right.